Well, hello everyone. Hope everyone had a good day today. Well, this video is going to be about a topic that is kind of the number one lead in the politically oriented shows I watch on my phone. There's a version of it in the morning, there's an evening version of it, and that is Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump's kind of backing down on what he said about the release of the Jeffrey Epstein documents or folders. So this is not what you really call an anti-Trump video. It's just one I think is realistic. And I think too many people out there, live in not an unrealistic world, but kind of a world that they want to believe exists and kind of blot other ones out. Trump initially said that he wanted to release all the Epstein files and come clean with it, and to, kind of get things out in the air. I am, for one, going to tell you right now, Epstein did not commit suicide. That just did not happen. When you're dealing with a lot of powerful, influential, and rich people, there's no saying, action talks, bullshit walks. Well, there's also another one that says, a lot of money speaks a big word, and he gets a lot of action done. So a lot of money in the right places took care of Jeffrey Epstein, and especially since there's a conspicuous 3-minute gap in the tape that videotaped the entrance to his cell. I know things like that just happen, but when you got enough money out there and you're dishing it out to the right people, things happen. And just by chance, 3 minutes just, somehow disappeared. And yes, you can kill someone by going in and doing the deed and getting out in under 3 minutes. But anyway, back to the topic. So Trump now does not really want to release the Epstein files, or at least all of them. And the reason is Trump is like a lot of people around the world, not just in this country, but go any part of the world, to Asia, to Europe, to the Middle East, the people with a lot of money who has a lot of political and business influence run in a world of their own. And it's just the way it is. It's the way it's always been. It's the way it's always going to be. And Trump being a billionaire developer in New York, New York's the best place to be a billionaire in development or developer, to be associated around a lot of people with a lot of influence and a lot of money. So, these videos that they show are pictures that, Trump is with Epstein here and there. Folks, that is to be expected. These pictures were all, though, taken before Trump ran for office. Back then, remember, he got along with the Hollywood elite. He hobnobbed with them. All these people hobnob among themselves. So seeing a picture of Trump and Epstein means nothing. That is just standard procedure for a person in his position in society, and Epstein for what he did. Epstein provided a service. Just like any company does, it provides a service. And you may not agree with the service, okay? But he provided a service because why? There was a demand for it. There was a desire for it. You don't create a business if there's no demand or any need for it. There was demand, there was a need, and he provided it. It didn't come cheap, but he was not dealing with people, who weren't filthy rich. They had the money, they were willing to pay for it. Now, just because things went on at both Epstein's home in New York and Florida and on his island does not mean it involved minors. I'm sure there are probably some minors there because some people have fetishes. It's just the way it is. You can say that's nasty, that's disgusting, but folks, that is just the world we live in. That's the world that's always existed, and that's the world that's going to exist into the future. You don't have to like it. You don't even have to accept it, but it is reality, okay? So Epstein provided for money, a lot of money, a service that there was not a need, but a request for, and he provided it. He also did a lot of security work on him, protect himself. His home and the one in Florida was just covered with cameras. And how do I know? Because they've said so on different shows that I watched a couple of years ago when this first started breaking. He had cameras everywhere. Nothing happened in his home in New York or Florida that wasn't being recorded. And for biggest part is for his own protection. If someone tried to start putting pressure on him for one reason or another, he'd always come back and say, well, we've got these videos of you and doing certain things with certain people. Maybe we want to discuss what you're trying to threaten me with, and maybe we can come to some, amicable decision, okay? So that was for his own. Now, as far as down on the island, if I've not heard that any of that stuff was recorded. I would not be surprised. And I would not be surprised if, whether it's at his home in New York or Florida or on his island, it wasn't just people from America, but people from around the world. Now, these people will fly around the world to go to certain places in certain countries to have a good time. It costs them a lot of money, but to them, it's worth it. They enjoy it, and that's the way it's always been. That's the way it is now, and that's the way it's happening today, and it's going to happen in the future. One thing I've always kind of questioned, though, was, okay, there's all this talk sometimes, about minors being involved. And my first question is, okay, initially, not now, but initially, okay, where are the parents of the minors? Okay, and if there were so many minors involved, then where were the parents, not filing police reports that, their 17-year-old daughter or 14 or 16 or whatever is missing? And now I've come to the conclusion, after all these people being arrested who came across the border illegally, they can get it from the sex trade. How many people they've talked about children being brought across in the hundreds from across the border illegally for the sex trade? Probably got them from that way, So there aren't going to be parents around filing police reports and all that. So it just really kind of irks me when I listen to some of these newscasts, and they're kind of beating around the bush. Trump will probably never release any of that information, or release all of it that has to do with Epstein, because his name is going to come up on it. Does not mean for one microsecond that he did anything illegal. Remember, Trump's been through 3 marriages, and he's on his 4th, But again, that does not mean that he did anything illegal. He was sued by this lady Stormy Daniels a couple of years ago, and he kind of paid her off, okay? Do I think Trump had sex with Stormy Daniels while he was married? I think there's a 100% chance he nailed that babe. He just nailed her, and probably nailed her good. And he enjoyed it, and she enjoyed it, okay? Is he going to lie about it? Of course he is. Was Donald Trump the only one that she took business with, who had a lot of money? Absolutely not, But anyway, I think, I'm not going to say that every accusation made against Trump when it comes to sexual issues that he was guilty of, but I'm almost positive he was guilty of some of them, okay? He even admits it sometimes back on a video for a show, night shows, that, yeah, he liked to grab the women between the legs, and they enjoyed it. Now, whether he was between marriages or not, or if he was still married, he kind of admits that he was kind of a wild one. He is not, again, the only one who does that. There's a lot of people in this country, a lot of people around the world who, that's just their lifestyle. They get into a group, they learn where certain services are provided, and they're able and willing to provide the service. Epstein is not the only one. There are other people out there. There are other people right now who took Epstein's place. Why? Because there's a demand for it. It's just as simple as that, folks. It's pure economics, As long as the demand is there are people who want the service and can pay for it. Someone's going to provide it. You can say it's immoral. You can say it's illegal. You can say all this stuff about it. It's just the way life works. So I've rambled on now for a little over 10 minutes. I just wanted to kind of get this off my chest. Am I still a Trump supporter? Absolutely yes. Do I think Trump is 100% innocent of any accusations that might appear on any paperwork or videos? I think he's probably innocent of some of it and probably guilty of others, And again, this was back before he ran for politics. He probably never thought that would be an issue in the news. It's just the way life works sometimes. But anyway, like, share, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and have a good one.